glad y'all are back in the kitchen with me. Welcome to Apron Strings. And today we're going to do a really easy cake, and it's done in the cast iron skillet. Now I love skillet dishes. I don't know, it just makes me feel like I'm connected with people way back yonder, because that's what they thought was wonderful to cook in, and that's what I think is wonderful to cook in. And this is a blueberry skillet cake. And you cook it right in the skillet, and then you dump it out on your serving platter, and then you eat it real quick before somebody else can eat it all up from you. Y'all, how's y'all's weather where you're at? You ever heard the saying, man, the bottom fell out, or oh my goodness, it's raining cats and dogs? I got a friend that says it's raining puppies and kittens. Hey, or we might better build an ark. Well, that's almost where we're at here, because we're getting rain. And you know, I told y'all that old saying said if it rained the first day of June, it's going to rain every day. We've had a little bit of rain every day so far, and my grandson's graduation was supposed to be Wednesday night at 8 o'clock. So we get there early, and we're waiting because it's at the stadium, the football stadium, and we had to wait for them to open the gates. Well, they didn't open the gates, and we get a text that, but with lightning was just, I knew they weren't going to do it. Lightning dancing everywhere, pouring down rain off and on. Well, they were going to wait till 9 o'clock, so we all sat there in our cars till 9 o'clock. Sure enough, it kept lightning and thundering, and so they put it off until 9 o'clock Thursday morning. Well, we really didn't think that Thursday was going to be a good day either, but you know, the good Lord blessed us. We went down there. Let me tell you what, it was hot and humid, terrible hot and humid, but we got through graduation, got that boy's diploma, and went out to eat at Papacita's and celebrated with some Mexican food. And it didn't rain till after I got home that evening, so we were blessed. We got Richard's graduation done, and it was a fun occasion. So anyway, he is working today. He and his papa, Papa took him up there to work, and he's got a little bit of stuff. Troy can't do much of anything unless he's sitting down, like sitting on the tractor or sitting on the lawnmower. That doesn't exert him and make him short of breath. So he's doing a little bit with his little excavator today. It had already been hauled up there for him, so all he had to do was get on it and sit down and rest a minute and then start working. So I hope he's doing and enjoying getting out. That'll be good. Just an update. They did call, and it blindsided us because we thought they were going to try this new medicine on his lungs before they made a decision, but they said the committee had met at the heart failure center there at Methodist, and that Troy is not a candidate for heart transplant. So that means that unless the good Lord gives us a miracle, he's just going to do the best he can as long as his heart lasts. They are still giving him some medicine to try to open up the vessels in his lungs to where he can breathe better. But we were very disappointed, to say the least, because we thought that if this medicine worked, then he would be on the list. But I guess we have to go back to what I've said all along. Jesus has already walked this path. The Bible says he knows your beginning from the end. He's been to the end of this journey and come back to where we are. He knows what's ahead, and he knows what's best. So we're just going to get all the sugar out of every day that we can, and more than ever, today's a present. It's a gift from God. And we're going to open it up, and we're just going to get all the goodness out of it that we can. Y'all, keep us in your prayers. It's not easy. It's scary. Totally uncharted territory. But we're just going to journey right on through it, holding on to that nail-scarred hand, and we're going to be okay. But I just wanted to be fair and give y'all an update, because I keep getting all the wonderful comments that you're praying for us, and that you are thinking about us and hoping things are going well. So that's what's going on in our household, and we're just going to keep going. Right now, I'm going to make him a blueberry cake. So y'all get over here to the butcher block, watch what I'm doing, and we're going to get it in the oven. Now, the first thing it says to do is to get your 10-inch iron skillet and put 2 tablespoons of butter in it. So I'm going to cut my butter up in a little bit smaller pieces so it'll melt. You want this to melt all in the bottom of the skillet. And then we're going to mix our cake up and get it in here, and then we're going to poke some blueberries around on the top and make us a good cake. And I love this cake because it's sweetened with honey. Now, if you don't have honey, you can use sugar. But I like the idea of having it sweetened with honey. And it also gives you the option of whole grain flour, but I'm just going to use all-purpose today. So we're going to combine the dry ingredients, and then we've got our wet ingredients, which is our honey and our eggs. And then the last thing we're going to do is very carefully we're going to fold in our blueberries because we don't want to squish them. So I'm going to get my skillet over here, and by the time that it is the butter's melted in it, I can't even think. By the time the butter's melted, it'll be time, and it'll be hot. It'll be time to pour the batter in and get the cake cooking, and it's going to take about 25 minutes to cook it. You want it to be a caramel brown color. So let me get the skillet in the June oven. I've got it preheated. And I'm going to set my timer for about 3 minutes, or I may forget it and have brown butter over there. Okay, let's get going right here. I'm going to get something to crack my eggs in. Got to make sure that they're okay. Can y'all see over here on the butcher block? Let me tilt it down just a little bit. See if I can get it tilted down. Even if my head's cut off, that'll be okay. Okay, here we are. To start with, I've got 2 cups of flour in my bowl. And I've got a teaspoon of baking powders and a teaspoon of salt. And I'm going to whisk those dry ingredients around. Did y'all know that when you put your flour in your canisters, if you put a couple of dry bay leaves in there, that it helps deter the little pests that like to live in it? Just thought I would tell y'all that right quick. Okay, I've got to melt 4 tablespoons of butter, and I'm going to do that in the microwave right quick. For about 40 seconds it should be done. This recipe also calls for a half a cup of honey or sugar, and I'm going to use honey. I get my honey from a local place up at Shepherd, which is 12 miles from Cleveland. Big Creek Farms. We need a teaspoon of vanilla. I'm going to put my butter in, and then I'm going to crack my eggs in the dish that my butter was in. Honey smells good. We also need 1 cup of sweet milk. And that's just whole milk. We just always call it sweet milk. And I'm using my Swedish dough hook. It just mixes everything up so good. And if you want to be all prim and proper, so well. Get this all mixed. Crack my eggs. Ooh, I better check that butter. Glad I set a timer. I gotta tell it to keep baking. I don't want it to turn off because I got this out. I may heat this another little snitch before I start, but I didn't want it to burn. Okay, let me get my eggs in here. Here's one. two. One little one, one big one. You never know what those chickens are going to do. We have had a rat in the chicken house, and that little booger beats me to the eggs, and he'll gnaw a little hole in one end, and then he, just a minute. I can't walk and chew gum at the same time. Just a minute. I don't like all that stuff in my eggs. Get out of there. I don't have a rooster, but there's something in there that... Okay. That rat beats me to the eggs, and he makes a... he can't peck, he don't have a beak. But he makes a little hole in the eggs and sucks all the yolk and the white out. Now, a lot of times he'll get the white, and I guess going out there trying to beat him to the eggs, he'll take off and there'll still be some stuff left in the shell. But I'm not getting very many of my eggs because that stinking rat is out there getting them. Okay, I've got in there everything, I think, but the blueberries. I'm going to check my recipe. I've got my flour, my honey, the salt, baking powders, the melted butter, 2 eggs, a cup of milk, vanilla, and now we need to just take the spatula and very carefully fold in the blueberries because we don't want to squash them. And while I'm doing that, I'm going to heat the skillet a little bit more where it'll be good and hot when I pour everything in. I just get all kinds of a mess around me, don't I? So y'all just have to wait for me to get back over here. Now when it's blueberry picking time, I have blueberries that I freeze, and so these are some good fresh blueberries. Okay, I'm just going to put them in, and I'm just going to barely mix them. I'm not punching and poking and taking my frustrations out on the blueberries. I just want them all in the cake. Okay, I'm going to show y'all. See, I didn't mash them, because if I'd have mashed them, my batter would be all blue. But you can just see them floating around in that good stuff. Okay, let me get a straw hickey-madoodle to set here and put my skillet on so I can get my stuff in it. Okay. Try to get all the batter out that I can. Put some of that butter around on the top. And it's back into the oven, and I'm using the June today. I cooked beef tips in my big oven, so for 25 to 30 minutes, and then I'll bring y'all back and show you what it looks like. Okay, I got the cake out, and I used my tester because the middle wasn't quite as brown as I wanted it, but it's done. So I'm going to take a knife and run around the edges of the skillet, and then I'm going to put it out on my platter, and I'll come back and show y'all in just a minute. I just got a case knife, and sometimes I've had good luck and sometimes I haven't, so we're going to see what my luck is today. Look at there. Came out perfectly. Now I'm going to leave it on that straw mat there. And I'm going to get my powdered sugar so I can sprinkle a little bit of that on the top to make it look a little bit pretty. This is that bun that OXO makes that I've told y'all I get it. I got mine at Sur La Table, but they have them on Amazon. And on the bottom, it's like a big old deep spoon, but the top is a shaker, so you fill it up, and then you, well, I got stuff in there I can't really show you. It's probably going to melt, but I wish I had some of that sugar that don't melt. I'm going to order me some. Just wanted it to look pretty. And then I'm going to cut it here in a minute and let it cool just a jiffy. Okay, see, I sprinkled a little powdered sugar around on it just to make it look a little bit prettier. Now I'm going to cut it and put a piece on a plate. Now if I had some Bluebell homemade vanilla ice cream, I would put a scoop of that on the top, but I don't. So I'm going to see if I got some that canned whipped cream and put a dollop of that on it. Be back in a minute. Okay, I've got me a little squirt of that whipped cream on the top and some fresh blueberries, and we're going to see what it tastes like. It smells good and it's dense and moist, so I think it's going to be yummy. That's good. Now I actually cooked it. Y'all know what that is. I need some tea. I actually cooked it 40 minutes because it says 25 to 30 or until it's golden brown. So I went ahead and cooked it a little bit extra to be sure it was done. But it's chewy. It's not a flaky cake. It's kind of chewy. But isn't that cool? Just melt your butter in the skillet and put your dough in there and cook it and you got a dessert. The good Lord bless and keep y'all and help your minds to work real good, because let me tell you what. Heard on the news where there'd been a cyber attack on a major beef processing plant. And that's going to mean a beef shortage, and that's going to mean skyrocketed prices. So if y'all got meat on sale in your area, you might better get you a little bit ahead, or you're going to be paying 2 or 3 times as much a pound probably. Maybe not, but it's better to be safe than sorry, to plan ahead and get you a little bit in your freezer. We've got chuck roast on sale. I think it's $2.47 or $2.97, and I'm going to get me a couple. And in fact, one of them is what I made the beef tips out of that we're having for lunch today. And I'm going to get a couple of more before the sale goes off. That's at Kroger, if y'all have a Kroger in your area. And I'm going to get me some ground beef too. I cook a lot with ground beef. So anyway, y'all try to stay dry if it's raining where you're at like it is here, because man, we just had another big downpour and we're supposed to have some more. So I'm just thankful that I have a good dry home to be in and I can find something to occupy myself with, even if I would rather be out in the garden. I'll see y'all in a day or two with something good to eat.